Greetings and salutations, travelers of the internet. Welcome to the Lit Roundtable. I'm Anna.
I'm Joseph, and today will be your wise or not so wise mentors for today's audio adventure into all things storytelling. And today, for our topic, just going to say what the topic is real quick before I do a quick housekeeping. Today we're going to be talking about making a likable character, and that is like making a character that you accidentally end up liking more than your main character.
That never happens.
Right. Or like making, in my case, because in more of like a D&D situation, accidentally falling in love with NPCs that you know your players might just brutally murder. And having to kind of let go of that and let them go and not outshine the players and not make them like OP and unkillable. So, that's kind of what I wanted to chat about today.
Yeah.
Just something that has been on my mind. So before that, though, quick plug.
Oh yeah, quick plug for our read-along. We've been doing The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, and it's very good. We are just now getting into part 2. Still super easy to catch up with us. And even, like, you might be listening to this 5 months after it airs. The read-along is still available on the podcast, you know? So you can always catch up. You should do it, because it's very good.
Indeed. It has been captivating so far. I've been kind of lamenting that the episodes are every other week and not just every week.
True story. True story.
But, so yes, go check that out. Excited about that. And yeah. So, character development, character creation, writing, and then, oops, I like this person more than my MC.
Yeah.
Tell me about that experience.
Well,
in your shoes.
So I jokingly said at the top of the episode 2 minutes ago that never happens. Of course, I was being incredibly facetious because when you first told me the topic for this week, I immediately had characters in mind. So in my, like, the first full novel I ever wrote, can I call it a full novel yet? I don't know that I actually ever finished it. Anyway, doesn't matter.
I mean, you might not be finished with it, but like it's written and it exists. Your thesis from grad school, you know, like
that's a different story.
Oh,
but in the same world,
right? I see. Okay, never mind. Continue.
But in the story that I've been working on since high school and earlier, it's like two sisters, and one of them is definitely the main character.
Yeah.
But I really like the other one a lot more. And that became very evident as I was writing. She just gets cooler stuff. Because she's a cooler character. She's got, like, special abilities. She's got awesome red hair. I didn't realize that the red hair thing was, like, a trope. It's particularly in anime until, like...
Oh, the redheaded protagonist.
So well after I had been writing this book. Or that, like, white hair can be a sign of, like, OP status, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that either. So in my thesis, I have, like, a whole group of people that have, like, shockingly white hair. And they are OP, kind of in nature. In some ways,
right.
But not in others. Like they're pretty, like, you could knock them over with a heavy wind, but they've got some, like, cool stuff going on. So
they strike me as like being like fae adjacent, like not fae, but they remind me of like they're like little fairy people, you know?
Yeah, kind of. So
magic powers. Anyway.
Yeah, and anyway, so it's funny how, like, some tropes just find you. You don't know they exist, and then suddenly you're like, oh, I'm, like, knee-deep in this trope that I didn't even know was a thing. Because I was not engaging in anime or manga at all at the time of writing those initial stories. Anyway, that's a tangent. But both of those books have secondary characters that I really like a lot.
So I
And
guess
the solution is I don't know.
okay.
Except that you plan a second book where they're the main character.
Yes, write their origin story novel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, give them a spin-off show, like uh yeah, that's so funny. Like in Buffy, how Angel got his own spin-off show
Exactly.
and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um that is really funny. Yeah, I guess in my mind the solutions to that in terms of like writing a book would be, I mean, it would feel gross to do this, but you could try to like pump the brakes on that specific character and try to make them like a little less, like make it less obvious that you like them so much, or like tone down their like toolbox a little bit to try to bring them on the same level as the MC. Or you can like elevate the main character and try to make them like a little more, you know what I'm saying? Like you can
Yeah.
either nerf one or buff the other. um
Well, okay. So in hindsight now, thinking about those characters, I think the reason that I struggled with the original main character, we'll call her Morningstar. That's not, I mean, that was her original name, but that's not what her name is anymore.
mm,
She was very plot heavy. Like what she was doing was driving the plot.
yes.
And her sister, Evening Star, was plot heavy, but more like, but not like primary plot. She was like doing her own thing.
Right.
And that was more fun than the plot. Because I got to just like be in the character and not care really if what she was doing was moving us to the next plot point, because that wasn't her main function. And
Right.
so I think that probably a good way to fix it is maybe to be less of a gardener and more of a plotter than I am.
Mm,
And to like have story beats in place for each character that they naturally have to progress to. And then give yourself room to do whatever you want between
right.
those points, but don't make it like that one character is doing all of the plot driving. Because I think that's boring
Right.
for readers too.
And then I feel like the readers will be looking forward to the non-plot chapters more than the plot chapters
Yeah.
because they feel more like you said before, how you're kind of a gardener. They feel more like
Lush and tended to. Yeah.
yeah, because those characters are given room to grow because they're not burdened by all of the world's forces and all of the politics and
Right.
all of the world events happening around
Right.
them.
Right.
Uh, so
Yeah. Instead of like corn, you plant the corn, you know it's going to grow.
hmm,
Doesn't matter if you give it a lot of water or not, because it kind of thrives on being dry
yeah,
sometimes too. Like it needs both. It needs like really dry and also really wet. So main characters are like corn.
yeah,
You pretty much know exactly what they're going to do. And secondary characters can be more like squash, where you don't actually know how, like, you know how they're going to grow, but you don't know where they're going to go because they're doing their own thing.
because they have like vines, right? So maybe
Yeah.
you set up the structure, which is like the what's it called?
The
Like
lattice.
the lattice
Mm-hmm.
that is the structure that the vines grow on.
Mm-hmm.
And then you let them grow on the structure
Right.
however they will.
Right.
But yeah, so that's kind of how you encounter it.
Mm-hmm.
With that's your encounters with accidentally making a character that you like more.
And I don't even know, like, when we're talking about likable characters, there are lots of secondary characters in my book that are not likable as
Oh
far
yeah.
as like their interactions with other characters, but they're very interesting.
Mm, entertaining.
Exactly. So I'm thinking of like I'm obviously not the only one that falls prey to this. There are I think most writers have a problem with this. But I'm thinking particularly of George R. R. Martin, and you cannot tell me that it is not his favorite to write Tyrion.
I think he has said that it is actually. I think that's just
It might
canon.
be common knowledge, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, I had never seen an interview with Martin. It's very evident when you're reading,
Yeah.
for sure, the first book. You're like, wow, the Tyrion chapters are like next level fun.
Yeah.
He's despicable, but this is fun.
Yeah.
And then you end up finding
Yeah.
out that he's not as despicable as
Mm.
as maybe you thought he was. But anyway, do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. So it just kind of happens. So,
And
le-
sorry, I have
You're
one
good.
more thought about the secondary characters. When I was reading The Two Towers for the first time as a kid, I loved the Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli storyline. Like the three hunters, yes. And then when it switched to Frodo and Sam, I was super bummed. Because,
yeah.
I mean, arguably, they are the main characters. But their stuff was so boring compared to what Aragorn,
Right.
Legolas, and Gimli were doing. I think now, like, I appreciate the Frodo and Sam stuff more, but it's still so jarring to like be so solidly set in one storyline and then to just get whisked away to this other storyline so quickly.
Yeah.
I just, yeah, I think that there's something to be said about that too, because those secondary characters, because Legolas and those guys are. I know they have their own storyline, and it's all so connected, and it's all so good. I'm not accusing them of not having a good storyline, because they totally do. But like,
Yeah.
their storyline is less important than getting the ring to Mordor. If we're talking about the overarching story, or like the reason for the book, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like there's a lot of different franchises where there's like the main person, and then there's the side character who is clearly like a fan favorite.
Oh,
You
for
know,
sure.
and I think that's just maybe the author's personal preference bleeding through. Like in Wheel of Time, it's Matt, Matrim Cawthon. He's a beloved fan favorite character because he's like the chaotic good, like whimsical in the books. You are you trying to think of who that character is?
Yes,
Or trying to remember?
I've only seen the first season, so I'm trying to remember which one Matt is.
Oh, I mean, in the first season, they kind of did that weird thing where the actor had to leave, and they just kind of
Oh.
like
So
dropped
not the
him.
main character, the other kid
No,
that left. Okay. He was pretty great.
he is a fan favorite, especially later on down the line. He's the lovable rogue. I feel like everybody likes that lovable rogue character.
Sure.
So I mean, it just kind of happens for me. Where I'm running into it in my life right now is with D&D prep, with creating NPCs that I think are really, really cool and interesting, but I don't know if the players will think they're really, really cool and interesting. And I, if they just choose to not interact with the character because it doesn't really like strike them the way that it strikes me, then it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
I guess I'll just never get to play that NPC again. Now I'll have to. It's like I'm making toys for the players to play with, hoping they'll like them as much as I do. And then if they don't, it's like, oh, now I got to make a different toy.
Yeah.
But I don't want to put this toy on the shelf yet.
Yeah.
I want to play with that toy. So
So you have way less control over
right.
that in the long run.
Right. But I also don't want to like force the players to interact with characters they don't particularly enjoy. I mean, there to some degree you have to do that, just for conflict and plot and story. But I don't, I'm not going to like shoehorn an NPC into every storyline that I like just because I like them, even though nobody else in the game really particularly does.
This is all hypothetical so far because you haven't actually DM'd your first session yet, right?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like it is a common, maybe not common. I feel like it's something that DMs do pretty often, or they can fall victim to this if they're newer like me, and that is, at least this is the things that I've like read about and seen online. is that they can kind of, they make a character, like if the DM is basically playing their own character in the game, like they're not, that's kind of a problem. Like,
Yeah,
if you have a
for sure.
DM character where the DM has their own character with their own character sheet, and that character starts like driving story stuff and stealing the spotlight, it's like, buddy, you're the one running the game. That's not fair. You have like inside knowledge of things.
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's just kind of annoying, and players don't like it when the dungeon master has their own character with a character sheet and they're like playing alongside everyone. So you don't want it to be like that.
Right.
I don't know. It's just it's like a balancing act, like.
I'm trying to, it's making me think of campaign 3 of Critical Role, where Matt was bringing in some of their old player characters.
Oh, yeah.
Technically, they had player sheets, and he was technically playing them. And I think later on, he ends up kind of giving them back to them to also play, but I don't know that for sure.
He does. They all end up like talking to themselves for 3 hours straight, and it's pretty hilarious. But like they were playing both, like they were simultaneously playing both of their characters from both campaigns at the same time, and they were like interacting with each other. It was really entertaining. But and I guess like in campaign 2 of Critical Role, Essek kind of counts as like a DM character, where but I feel like that was something where Matt didn't force it. The players got really attached to an NPC.
Yes, they did. I don't think he intended for Essek to continue as much as he did.
No. And
but they kept inviting him over. They kept inviting him.
They kept inviting him over to their house. He started like a little like romance subplot with one of the players, and by the end he was like fully ingrained, like practically a member of the adventuring party. But that was something that it was clear that the players were like working to have happen. They were like, we want more of Essek. We want him to be a part of the party. We like him. So yeah, I guess it's just letting the players steer it, which is an acquired skill, I guess. Letting go and letting other people handle your story, the story you want to tell.
Yeah. I mean, Matt Mercer has also like been doing this forever. So it's not, he's not a new DM trying to figure out the balance. He's got a pretty well handled.
I feel like you gotta be good at improvisation. You gotta roll with the punches.
I think that Brendan Lee Mulligan is really good at that. Not that that's the conversation we're having, but
he is very good at that. Yeah. He's an improv master. That's because of all those what's that what's the show that he's on is it just Dimension or no, on Dropout, the not Dimension 20, the one like the game show thing.
Game Changer?
Thank you. Yeah. All this time on Game Changer has turned him into a magnificent improvisation person.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like fine. I'm like creating all these NPCs, and I'm really pleased with a few of them. And but I don't want to like over prepare.
Sure.
In case it's just kind of a flop and nobody cares about that certain character, and then they like never come back. So I don't want to like invest a ton of time. You almost want to like wait until the first couple sessions and see who they latch onto.
Yeah. Sure.
And then develop them more. But it's hard for me because I am more of a planner when it comes to like writing and these creative things. So it's like I want to have the structure there for them to interact with ahead of time. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know what the right answer is. I think you just got to figure it out for yourself.
Pretty much.
I'm sure there are DMs and writers out there that have gone through this and have way more eloquent advice than
Oh yeah.
anything
We've
said.
There's a Reddit thread. There's a Reddit thread for everything, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's I find this is also really entertaining, at least from like a viewer or like consumer perspective. Consumer's a gross word, but like just because like it's art, and I feel like you should like consuming art is kind of like ugh, that's a gross way to put it.
But
But
that's what we do.
yeah, I mean that's what like modernized media and like Hollywood, like we're consumers and they're producers. But I want to think of
As an
art as like
observer, is that better?
right as an
Okay.
enjoyer, as a yeah that kind of thing, as someone who is viewing and observing and enjoying stories. It's really entertaining to me when this happens with the villains, where the author's like, wait, no, guys, you're supposed to hate them. You're supposed no, stop loving them. You're supposed to hate them.
Why are you talking about Hisoka from
Yeah.
Hunter x Hunter?
Yeah, or like Boba Fett. Like
for
people
sure.
just latched onto Boba Fett, and he had
Which
like
is
3
wild.
lines of he
He
just
didn't
looked
do
cool.
anything.
And he went out like a chump in Return of the Jedi. So yeah, it's just those moments are really entertaining to me.
For sure. Well, Darth Vader too. People love
Yeah, but
Darth Vader.
He at least gets like a redemption arc, you know.
Yeah, but I feel like people like Darth Vader before that.
Yeah.
He's just a favorite villain, I think.
Yeah, he's got the voice. I mean, James Earl Jones. Come on.
He's very imposing. But Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter, like when we were, I don't remember which arc it was that we were in, but I was like, man, I'm sick of this villain. I want Hisoka back. Hisoka's gross, but I want him back.
He's just so entertaining.
He's so entertaining. He's crazy, but he's so entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. Yeah, that's pretty much what I've got though for that topic. I just wanted to pick your brain and chat about it a little bit because that's something I've been experiencing, and I knew that you had too.
Yeah, I think that finding the balance between gardening and plotting is the real ticket. I don't know if I have found that balance, but
right. But at least you're self-aware.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So.
So I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation about accidentally making a character you like even more than the MC. Geared a little more towards like other writers or creators in the audience, but I feel like getting a peek behind the curtain and under the hood of that creative process is fun for people, of course. So I hope y'all enjoyed. But we still got to go over, you know, what we've been up to.
Oh man, and it's been a lot.
So tell us,
You want me to
Anna,
go
what you've been reading.
Oh man, reading will be
Watching.
easy actually.
Playing.
For reading, I've been reading The Poppy War, of course, and The Witch Hat Atelier. So
I need to read. There's a new volume that we got a while ago, and I forgot I haven't read it yet.
yeah, I've been reading it over my
it.
lunch break at work, and it's been lovely.
Isn't it so pretty?
It's so
pretty.
beautiful.
The art is gorgeous.
It really is. When is the anime coming out for that? Because I want it.
I thought it was this year.
Oh, good. Because I want it so bad. Yeah, that's basically what I've been reading. There's probably... No, I think that's it right now. Because for watching, we watched an episode of Kiff, which is on Disney Plus.
What is that?
I couldn't even tell you. I've never seen the show, but the episode we watched, it's like its own standalone thing on Disney Plus. It's called Lore of the Ring Light, and it's a Lord of the Rings spoof. And it's hilarious. So
I love that.
Recommend Kiff Lore of the Ring Light.
Okay. Nice.
Blake and I started watching Delicious in Dungeon, which has been adorable.
It's so good. I love that show.
I think I had it confused in my head with a different anime cooking show that is super not safe for kids.
Food Wars?
Yes. I had it confused for Food Wars because I was like, ooh, we can't watch this one with Blake's daughter. But so far it's been pretty tame. Like, they're fighting, but there's not like... I thought it was going to have some like fan service-y and like super graphic stuff. But so far the only thing is the intro where you see his sister like naked in the dragon's tummy. But you can't really see anything. You just tell she's not wearing clothes.
Yeah.
So maybe it would be okay to watch with her, but because it's been really fun. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. You've seen all of Delicious in Dungeon. Do you think it would be safe for a 7-year-old?
There's like things. I mean, it's up to you guys, but there's things later on where, like, there's nudity, but not like sexual nudity, where they're like taking a bath.
Okay.
That kind of thing. I mean, there is some stuff with like the dwarf guy's backstory that can get pretty dark.
Okay. Well, we'll finish watching it, just the two of us, and then we'll see if...
Yeah, and then you guys can determine whether or not you think she can handle it. I'm bad at gauging what a 7-year-old can handle.
No, for sure.
But, like...
Well, some of the stuff she watches is also, I think, kind of scary. Like, like Owl House has, like, some scary elements. And Gravity Falls has some scary elements. And she'll do, like, totally fine with those, but then we'll watch something else and she'll be like, that's scary. And I'm like, I don't understand how this is more scary than... But, like, it's not for me to... I'm no one to judge because I was afraid of Winnie the Pooh as a kid. So, like...
Right.
Whatever, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we are also watching Futurama occasionally. We did watch Wish, which is...
the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we watched part of it. And then... it's a Disney movie from last year. It's bad.
I heard. I have not seen it.
So Blake's daughter got bored and went to do something else, and Blake and I turned it off. She's seen it before. Like, they've both seen it. So, like, her getting bored of it is not, like, that big of a deal. But the fact that we were both like, yeah, we don't have to keep watching this. And just, like, switch to something else.
Yeah. That's funny.
We watched the Aristocats for our Valentine's Day movie night with little girlie. Quickly followed by The Great Mouse Detective, which I had never seen. But that was kind of fun.
Oh, yeah. That's fun.
Yeah.
That's one that's like Sherlock Holmesy, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I have seen it once because Hope made me watch it because I also hadn't seen it.
Right. That makes sense that you hadn't seen it either.
Yeah.
And then this last Friday, we started watching Win or Lose, which is a new Pixar TV show on Disney Plus. And Josef, it is so good.
Okay.
I was blown away. There were several moments in these little 24-minute episodes where I looked over at Blake and was just like, jaw dropped. Because it was so stinking good. So you're basically watching the story of, like, the same time period multiple times from different characters' point of view. And it is incredible. I just need you to watch it. Okay.
What's the genre?
It's kids, like, coming of age.
Okay. But is it set in, like, modern day?
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
Okay.
So, like, the first kid that you follow has, like, extreme anxiety and it puts a lot of pressure on themselves to be better at playing softball than they are. And their dad is the coach. And they have a little, like, they have Sweaty. It's this little manifestation of anxiety that, like, hangs out on their shoulder. And it's really something. And then the next character you follow, the umpire, throughout his day. He's also a teacher at the school. And then the next one you follow one of the students again. And then you follow her mom through the same day. And it's just, like, seeing the different perspectives is so wild.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're getting to see, like, the character's self-perception, and then you're also getting to see how the other characters around them perceive them, and seeing how different they are. And usually, not always, usually the other character's perspective of someone is more generous than your own perspective of themselves. So, anyway, it's very good.
Cool.
It's still ongoing, so I can't wait for the next episode. I started watching on a whim Yellowjackets. Can you tell that I'm not in school anymore? I'm watching a lot more TV. Yellowjackets, which is like, I don't know, a horror
Thriller
teen drama. It's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Season 1 was on Netflix, and I got hooked, and then I was like, yeah, and then I saw a new season was dropping, and I thought it was season 2 that was just dropping, and then to find out that it was actually season 3, and I had a whole other season that I could watch on Paramount Plus. It's very exciting. And then as soon as I finished that, I started watching Killing Eve, which is another thriller, spies, assassins, with Sandra Oh and Jodie Comer. It's very good. I finished that last night. The ending.
Oh, you finished it?
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
Like the show's over?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you satisfied with the ending?
I was.
Nice.
I was.
It's hard for shows to pull off, I feel like.
Yeah. Like, and I also watched Shutter Island, which I had never seen.
That movie is a trip, dude.
It is. So,
whoa.
I guess the big reveal, like, pretty early on, because Leonardo DiCaprio's character is being so stinking weird.
Yeah.
Like, why is he so weird? And then something else happened, and I was like, Blake has seen this. So, spoiler alert for people that haven't seen Shutter Island, but it's old, so...
Yeah.
I guess if you really don't want it spoiled, skip the next couple minutes. But I was like, spoiler alert, Leonardo DiCaprio is the patient. And then Blake looked at me and he was like, I thought you hadn't seen this. And I was like, was I right? He was like, yeah, man. And he was like, there's more though, so we'll just wait and you know. But I did guess the big reveal pretty early on. Which made the viewing experience more... Because he was saying before we watched it, it's like a movie you can watch multiple times. Kind of like Inception, because you don't realize the big conceit until the end. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I have to watch it again so I can see all the stuff I missed the first time through.
Right.
So since I had pegged it pretty early, I was able to catch some of those like weird, like Mark Ruffalo's character being a bad detective because he's actually a doctor. It's just along for the ride. Like some of that was pretty interesting. And then we also watched this really silly thing on YouTube called Hundreds of Beavers, which is like a Looney Tunes style live action independent thing. It's pretty funny. It's very weird.
Sounds
it's
like
just a guy dressed up as these different animals. And also, he's the farmer guy. Anyway, it's weird, but it is very funny. So if you need like a laugh and to like not use your brain,
fair.
Go for it. And then for playing, I've been playing 2 games on the Switch. I've been playing Pokemon Snap, which I am ridiculously addicted to, and it's a good thing that I can only play it when I'm at Blake's apartment. Otherwise, I would do it all the time. But it's really fun because you just go around and take little pictures of Pokemon and you try to get them to do different things.
Nice.
And then at my house, I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom, and it's so pretty. I am struggling with the controls a little bit because it's a lot. And
It's
also,
more...
in the Pokemon game, you throw like these fluff fruit, which just look like apples, at the Pokemon to get them to do things. And there were a couple times where I was playing the game and I was like, I just want to throw an apple at this thing in Tears of the Kingdom. And like that, it's not going to do anything for me. So,
I mean, you can. You could throw an apple at whatever you want.
I could. I haven't. So like, yeah, the controls are confusing. I know that like I can select different items to like hold, but I haven't figured out why I would do that yet.
Hmm.
Or like, they're not items I hold. It's like I select them and then I can drop them. Anyway, I'm still figuring it out. I'm in Hyrule now. I'm not in the Sky Castle anymore.
Nice.
So I'm back on semi-familiar territory. I don't know if I love the multi-level map.
Yeah.
In the like training ground where you have the first 4 shrines and you're up in the sky, I found that incredibly frustrating to not be able to tell what level I was on.
This one is like,
so
there's some things that you're able to get that will make your life easier.
Okay.
And
so I just have to keep pushing.
Like get more abilities and like learn how to craft more useful things. Like
I'm also not very good at the crafting. I spent way too long making a dumb little cart for myself to ride on.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like you don't have to be amazing at the crafting to get through the game and love it still. Like, I was not very good at it.
I also don't remember that it's a thing I can do until I'm like, how the heck am I supposed to get across this stupid thing?
Mm-hmm.
And I go, oh, wait. I gotta see if I can grab anything and move it around. Oh, look at that. There's a very conveniently placed block right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I'm getting it. It is slow. It's not quite as intuitive for me as the Pokemon game. Right. The Pokemon game is very simple. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Nice.
I feel like I just talked for a long time. Sorry.
It's okay. For me, for my watching, I have been watching Solo Leveling as the new episodes of that have been coming out. Oh, which is so good. Did you watch the first season of that?
Mm-mm.
Okay, it's really good. I have also been, spoiler for the reading section, I've been reading that, the manhwa, as it comes out. The anime is incredible for that one. So I'm really loving that. Also watched Delicious in Dungeon and finished it, at least what was out on Netflix. Also have been watching Yellowjackets because you told Hope about it, and then Hope started watching it, and then I started watching it.
To be fair, I also told you about it. I think I asked you first if you had watched it because it was so addicting. And then you were like not that interested, and I was like, Hope would get it. and I was right.
Yeah, and here we are. So that's been really fun. We also went to go see Hades Town.
I'm so jealous.
A few nights ago. So that was really fun. For those of you that don't know, it's a musical stage production that is like Greek mythology, the story of Orpheus and Eurydice. Is
that the one that has the Get in the Water song?
You're thinking of Epic the Musical.
Oh, okay.
That is also a musical based on Greek mythology.
Gotcha. But I couldn't remember which one it was in. Anyway.
No, this is... So Orpheus and Eurydice is the story of how like Eurydice ends up in the underworld, and Orpheus goes to try to get her, and Hades is like, okay, but the only way you can get her is if you walk out of the underworld and just trust me when I tell you that she's following you, and you're not allowed to turn around and check. And if you do turn around and check, then she's stuck here forever. And it's a Greek tragedy, so you can guess what happens. But,
those dang Greeks.
But it was really good. The music was really good. I don't know if I've ever heard a man sing that high in person before. The Orpheus part is pretty crazy. And the guy who played Hades had the most velvety, sultry voice. It was crazy. It was really good. It was a good time. That was in Dallas. Let's see. For watching, also been watching been watching Critical Role. I've been watching the one that Brenda Lee Mulligan is DMing right now. Exandria Unlimited Divergence. And that is such a different vibe from every other
really
campaign they've done.
Like even from the other Exandria Unlimited?
The characters are starting at level 0.
Oh.
they're playing with
Oh.
NPC stat blocks, starting at level 0, and they're all prisoners in this like betrayer god's prison camp fortress.
Whoa.
And it's so wild, but it's so good. And I love Brendan Lee Mulligan so much.
What was his first word for this one?
I don't remember. It wasn't an element.
Okay.
That was funny. But Matthew Mercer is a player in the game, and he's an old dwarf, and I love him as a dwarf.
He does play amazing dwarfs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been really fun. I feel like that's pretty much it for my watching stuff. We haven't gone to see a movie recently. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So for reading The Poppy War for the read along, and solo leveling, like I mentioned, and also, like kind of on a whim, started Warbreaker, which is a Brandon Sanderson book. I read like the first few pages. I was listening to it while I was like doing dishes one day. Haven't gone back to it yet, but it's intriguing, and I didn't realize just how quickly the tie-in with the Stormlight Archive is. Like, the character is just a character that's in Stormlight Archive, and I just didn't realize.
Oh, crazy. Okay.
Yeah. And another character who is kind of an object. It's weird. It's a thing. Anyway, so I need to keep reading that. But also, I did start reading the first book in the Live Ship Traders series, which is like the second trilogy in the Farseer books from Robin Hobb. And this one is kind of like a more nautically piratey theme, which that was fitting because my D&D group that I've been in for a couple of years is going to start a new campaign that I'm going to DM for. That's going through the Ghosts of Saltmarsh module. So that's kind of a piratey, coastal, nautical type of situation. So it felt fitting. And I've also been reading the book for that, of course, and doing all the prep. And that's going to kind of count as playing also. Going to overlap there. And also been playing Baldur's Gate. And also been playing... what was it? Hope and I started playing a split-screen co-op one, which was really fun. We started playing that on Valentine's.
What's it called?
No, for Baldur's Gate. We started a split-screen co-op campaign.
Gotcha.
For Baldur's Gate 3. Yes. And that's been fun because I'm still running it with all the mods. So we've got an unlimited party size. So we've got everyone with us.
Incredible.
It's been a fun time. Yeah. And I don't know if I mentioned it last time that we actually got to play Everdell, the game that Blake got us for Christmas.
I know we've talked about it, but I don't remember if we talked about it on the pod or not.
Been meeting up with some neighbor friends to play some board games occasionally, and we got to play Everdell with them, and that was very fun. Which also reminds me, last time we were there, we played the new Mario Party, which I didn't know existed. There's a new Mario Party now that just came out that has a bunch of cool new stuff. So,
what is Jamboree?
Oh, that might be it. I
Is
think
that
that's
Mario
it, actually.
Party? Is that the one that's like a board game?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one.
I think that's it.
It's really fun. I told you it was fun. Did you do the cooking?
No.
Oh.
Is that like a mini game in it?
Kind of. You go to like a specific island and then you're...
Oh, okay.
There's like...
Okay. Well, we did not do that. We just played regular old Mario Party.
It's not a mini game in the board. It's like an extra part of Jamboree that you have to go do.
Mm-hmm. I see.
Blake's daughter really likes that one. So we do that one a lot.
Yeah. That was very fun also.
Nice.
So, yeah. All the playing. Fun times. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So next week is going to be another read-along week, so make sure you're reading Poppy War in the meantime. Yeah, so I guess Until next time, go read something cool.
And we'll talk to you next time.
Later.
Bye.